My brain was broken for all of the best reasons because I was asked a question the other night that caused nothing but silence and stillness, that brought clarity to me at a level that I could never articulate, that I share with you on this show, with the question where it applies to business and where I'm seeing people have the most dramatic impact and results on their business, the relationships in them, and the revenue associated just by answering this question and being willing to share it with the world. So without further ado, let's get into the podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George show. And don't mind if there's a little bit of blood that comes out of my mouth if you're watching this on video, or if you see the chocolate oatmeal stains on my shirt, because apparently I'm a 40-year-old child and I had dental surgery this morning. And I have a rule and a reminded rule lately that if I feel it, say it. Or if I see it, say it, or if I think it, say it. And I was asked a question the other night that absolutely broke my heart open, led me to tears, and led me to a ginormous breakthrough, which also happens to tie in the last 4 weeks of my life, where I have been held in an incredible conscious men's retreat off the grid, done 3 very deep intensives with loving, dear clients of mine, to then spending another 3 days off the grid in nature, learning how to fly fish, which, by the way, very hard. I'm not very good, but I can now fly fish and catch a fish, and led to some profound breakthroughs in clarity when it comes to the lens of business and what the world is craving and desiring right now, and what I'm seeing across the board from people doing 10 grand a month, 100 grand a month, $300,000 a month and above, all sharing everything in common. And what it really boils down to is the deepest level of alignment. And I'm going to get there in a minute. But first, I'm going to share this question. And I'm going to invite you to write this question down. I'm going to invite you to put this question in a notebook or in your phone and intentionally set a date with it. Like, take at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and sit with this question and be willing to feel whatever comes up. Because all too often we fall into the addiction of work, or addiction to doing the work, or the trap of do instead of feel. And we never get to enjoy the results of our work. We never get to recognize that there is no finish line, right? You ask most entrepreneurs why they do what they do, and they're like, I want more time, money, and freedom. But if I was to give you 2 days off right now and everything was handled, most of us don't know what to do with it. And I love questions that provoke deep inner looking, that provoke deep feeling and understanding that really, no matter where you are in life or business, even if you're the employee of somebody else, we have desires, we have dreams, we have goals, and there's parts of us that end up falling victim to being ignored or locked away in a cage because we fall victim to the hustle and grind, or we check boxes for other people. And so the question that I would love for you to write down is this. What would you say is the most unseen or uncommonly seen part of you that you wish more people could know? What would you say is the most unseen or uncommonly seen part of you that you wish more people could know? And I don't know how to say this next part without sounding full of myself, but really factually, I get interviewed all the time. I've been on, 10,000 podcasts or something last time we counted. And I get asked a lot of questions, and very rarely does a question force me to stop in my tracks. And I mean stop hard. And I get asked this question, and it led me to a blank state of silence. And it wasn't a question that I could answer in my head. It wasn't a question that I even had right at the tip of my tongue. I just sat there for like 5 to 10 minutes. And I even started to answer the question, and the shallow answer led to a very, very deep answer. And my answer to this question was, I wish more people could know how willing and committed I am to reinventing myself to whoever I need to or get to be, to meet every human I meet, wherever they are, so that they feel no judgment, shame, guilt, or blame, so they know have a teammate that will walk them out or help them find their path to clarity, their results, or their life. And I broke down in tears. And I mean ugly tears, snot tears, feeling that deep, deep why in my body. And then I was met with a very, very stark contrast of truth. That the reason that most people don't know that is because I've been too busy talking about what it looks like to lead than I have been leading and sharing those parts of myself so that you know and other people know. And the reason I share this is because if I could summarize the desires of people in 2024 and what's required for them to do business with people, which I'm sure everybody listening to this has seen and resonate with on some level. The things that people are craving are community, deep connection, and implementation. And we've lived in a world in digital marketing on the internet for years where it's like the next best thing, the next best funnel, the do it my way, the do it this way. All out of alignment, checking boxes for other people because we've forgotten what we truly desire, and we all end up building businesses or having hobbies or having a job that checks boxes for everybody else and never checks a box for our heart. And that question led me to recognize that I fall into that trap all the time. I rebuild walls around my heart. I rebuild walls around my life while I'm claiming to want to let people in and want to guide and lead people. And it's because there are these little sneaky pockets that I get locked in the pill bottle, and even I forget to rip the lid off and share it with everybody. And what people are craving is implementation. They're craving the support, the team, the guidance to help them implement and build. You've seen it. You've seen it across the board. I see it with every client. Webinar funnel's not working. Cold ads not working. Lead magnet's not working. And it's not that the tool itself or the medium itself doesn't work. It's that it's missing the required ingredients that people desire to actually get results in their life. And the internet and most of our industry, and whatever industry it is, have fallen victim as a byproduct to years of selling goals and dreams, but never the support to implement them. Selling the relationship and leaving somebody at the altar when they come in. But what it really boils down to is that our job doesn't begin until somebody says yes, and our job ends when they get a result or one step closer. And I have a core belief that when you sell something, when you serve someone, that it's not, hey, go figure it out. It's, hey, I'm here with you to figure that out. But it's required that we show up as who we are all the time so they know what we stand for. They know what we stand against, and they know what they receive from us. But it requires us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves some very, very deep questions, and being willing to expose ourselves to those people, to share our hearts, to share our emotions, to share our desires, to share our beliefs, so that they understand how we feel and feel safe enough to make a decision. And I hadn't recognized how deeply I've been locked in a new box where I care so deeply about people, my clients, my potential clients, people I've never met, people that ask me questions, every person who listens to this podcast. But the only way that you'll get to know how I truly feel is if I decide to share that. You can't read my mind. You can't listen through this podcast and understand what's happening on a deeper level. It's only when I'm willing to step first, and this is why I love my faith in Jesus and God. It's even written everywhere in the Bible that when I take the first step, He'll meet me. Well, that's what leadership is. Leadership is showing ourselves to people so they have a permission slip to feel seen and step into their power. That's really what's underneath connection. That's how you build a deep community. And then we use ourselves as the example, or our programs or our models or our courses, to help people implement and get those results for themselves, not those results for us. It doesn't help when we go build 100 carbon copies of us. Not everybody is going to do a funnel the same way, or do a webinar the same way, or sell the same way. And to think that they could is blasphemous. But it requires our willingness to be in at the deepest level. Because if you think about most businesses, brick and mortar businesses anywhere, there's never a one-size-fits-all solution. There's a, we'll tailor this solution for you. No personal trainer has the same 2 workouts or regimens for 2 people. They have the same principles, but how they get there is very differently at a different pace. And that's what's being demanded and required of the world. And for me, when I was forced with love, and I love it, to sit with this question, it made me recognize that alignment, and I've been saying this for years, and taking my own medicine is the deepest form of freedom. Because if we have desires and we don't share them, if we have thoughts and beliefs and we don't share them, if we have parts of ourselves that we want people to know but we don't share them, they'll never know and can't be led into something different. And so my invitation for you is to sit with that question. What would you say is the most unseen or uncommonly seen part of you that you wish more people could know? And my second question to that would be, if you wish more people could know it, why don't they know it already? And this is why I love lighthouses. And this is why my branding is a lighthouse, because my favorite lighthouse quote ever is, lighthouses give light because giving light is its nature. It's not interested in who gets it. And in the state of the world and business that we live in, I believe and truly believe in my heart, and would die on this hill, that it's the only way to do business that guarantees that both parties win. Empowering people to fish, rising tides rise all ships, and understanding what it takes to be a leader. And I don't claim to be one. Most of the days I feel completely unqualified. But this just lands at the deepest level, and I've heard this probably 30 times in the last month. I've experienced this. I've felt this. I've seen clients have breakthroughs and increase their business in numbers that I haven't seen. Not because they followed a blueprint, but because they followed their heart and put their flavor on their blueprint and used their story and the answers to questions like this to let people know what they stand for, to allow them to come into their world and help build their vision with them, not build our vision for them. And so that's my invitation for you today, that I just felt so called in my heart to share. And I appreciate you immensely. And I'm really nervous to post this episode, which typically means it's a really, really good one for me to post. And I thank you in advance for being willing to sit with this. I thank you in advance for listening to this show, knowing what that means about you, knowing the commitment that you have to yourself, to being the best version of yourself, and really standing for people. Because I truly believe you can do business another way, except you end up making money at the sacrifice of your soul. And I genuinely believe the conversation in the world is changing about what people desire. We've seen people drastically change their beliefs, change their habits, change what events they go to, how many programs they join, what courses they buy. And it's because everybody's been burnt out from being catfished over and over and over again. And one of the things that I've heard my teacher say, and everybody I respect and understand that serves people, is we serve to get served. And the more willing we are to be open, to be vulnerable, to be in our heart, to be aligned, the safer everybody feels to step into theirs to get the results that they desire. And that's where magic happens. Because even with customer journey, there's only really 3 reasons we do them. Reason number 1 is to get them results. Reason number 2 is to retain the relationship. And only once somebody has a result and has a relationship with us, could they ever have the confidence to refer somebody else to us, which is the third. And at the end of the day, I believe that's what the world needs more of. And it's our responsibility to bring that. But it's not something we talk about. It's someone who we choose to be. And so I'll leave you with that today. And I would love it. And I mean, it would mean the world to me as I learn how to ask for help and flex this muscle of mine. That when you answer that question, if you feel called to share, please send it to me on Instagram. Please send it to me in a DM. My Instagram is It's George Bryan. And I would love to see you in it. I would love to be there with it. I would love to hear yours, since I so openly shared mine. And so without further ado, I'll wrap the show today. And I wish you the most beautiful day, the most incredible amount of blessings. And I'm going to go rest my mouth and drink some liquid food until it doesn't hurt anymore. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode, or maybe you'll hear me in your earballs. But either way, relationships will always beat algorithms, especially the one with yourself. And so take this question, give it some love, and be willing to share the most beautiful parts of you that the world doesn't see or doesn't know enough of with the world, so that you can inspire them to change and be the catalyst for somebody else's growth.